everyone, today we're going to do some abs. I have the interval timer set to 1 minute. So we're going to start with some more static abs to really find the right muscles and feel them, and then work them a little bit more dynamically. So we're going to start on our backs. I want you to put the weight through your heels. You're going to roll your pelvis back, finding every vertebrae on the floor. And you're going to breathe as you exhale. Find those abs. You're going to think about those low, deep abs pulling your pubic bone towards your belly button. And then let's do some marches so that those hamstrings should really kick in, but your pelvis should not wobble. So keep your hands right on your pelvis and make sure it's not shifting or rotating as you pick up those feet. And breathe. Breathe into the sides of your ribs so that those front abs can stay active and control your core. So you're working on a lot of core stability. Just make sure you're not coning or pooching in the front. If those ribs are down, you're thinking flat stomach. Those transverse abs should be holding everything in. You should feel some hamstring. Maybe some inner thigh, which would be good. You want that those inner thighs? Oh. All right, 30 seconds left. Sorry, I missed the beep. We're just gonna focus on breathing, keeping those hamstrings on the whole time. Feel the sides of your rib cage. Let those shoulders relax as you exhale. Don't bring them up. All right, we're gonna reach up. You're gonna reach, think of your shoulder blades sliding forward on your rib cage. You do not want a lot of chest. So make sure that you're not thinking so much, reaching with your arm and getting that chest, but your shoulder blades are reaching forward. You're gonna do that tuck, feel those hamstrings. That core should be stable. Do not let that core move. That rib cage and pelvis should be solid. And you're moving those shoulder blades on your rib cage. You'll feel some obliques, but you shouldn't be really moving your thorax or your core at all. You want to challenge that stability. You can add some light weights to this exercise. You should feel those hamstrings and glutes burning. I do. All right, so now we're going to bring up those feet. You can either do like just tapping the feet and then the arms independently, or you can put them together as long as you can keep every vertebrae on the ground, especially those mid vertebrae opposite your rib cage, which I have the most trouble with. Again, your hips to your shoulders completely stable. You're not twisting or turning. You're not letting your back come off the ground. Those extremities are moving on a stable foundation. You're really thinking about those ribs going down towards the floor. And I'm having a hard time keeping that mid back down, so just pay attention to that. All right, so now I'm gonna have you keep your hands on your pelvis. You're gonna do a tuck, flatten those abs, ribs in, and I want you to go out and in and then switch, but don't let that pelvis move. Okay, so you don't want to let it roll as you go out, and you do not want any hip snapping either. If you're getting hip snapping, that means your abs are not stabilizing your pelvis. You need a little bit more tuck, deeper transverse abs. You should feel hamstrings and glutes. Hopefully some inner thighs. All right, so let's get out of that position and go into all fours. You want a neutral spine in all fours. So make sure that you're not sinking, but you're not overly flexed either. So you have to kind of flatten your thoracic spine while you tuck and even that high lumbar curve out. So you're going to be here, and I just want you to extend back without extending your back. So that was confusing. Extend your hip without extending your back. Let it sit there for a few seconds so you can really feel that glute and hamstring. You're working on a stable core. Nothing should be moving but that hip joint. So the further that hip goes up, or the further the knee goes up, and the further the hip extends, the more your abs have to work to stabilize your pelvis. Switch legs. You're keeping your pelvis even. You're not hiking or dropping. So when you bring that foot back, or that knee back, it should kind of skim right across the ground where it started. Your hip should be right over your knee, so you're not leaning out to the side. Feel serratus around those shoulder blades. If you exhale as you extend your hip, it's easier to keep your abs engaged and your ribs down. So you're using that breath to your advantage. All right, now we're going to lift a knee in the opposite hand, so you can either stay there or go forward. Just make sure that your core is not moving. You're completely stable. You're really pushing through that stable arm to feel around that shoulder blade. No tight neck, no tight back. Make sure your hip is right over your knee so you're not leaning out to the side. You should feel a lot of those abs stabilizing your pelvis and rib cage. All right, you're going to switch. Reset yourself. I feel like I'm dropping a little bit. I don't have a mirror, but a mirror or using the camera on your phone to watch yourself do these is so helpful, because you may be doing completely different than what your brain is telling you you're doing. And so if you need to change how you're moving, you need to see it or feel it. So some exercises where you can put your hands on your hips or certain muscle groups to feel what's working is super helpful. I'm feeling those abs. Hopefully you're feeling those low transverse abs. The deep abs. All right, so that was one round. I would go through it 2 or 3 times to get some real good core work. Really making sure that you're moving correctly. You're moving without moving your core. So all of those exercises, your core should be solid. You don't want to bend or extend your spine. You're moving from your shoulder and hip joints, not by moving your core. So the role of your abs is to stabilize your core so that your extremities can move on a stable foundation, and that's really important for mechanics and to keep everything working together happily. Stay balanced.